Anonymous is a decentralized international collective of activists and hacktivists who have long made their mark on the world stage by exposing injustice, corruption, and abuses of power. Known for their iconic Guy Fawkes masks and digital protests, Anonymous operates without a formal hierarchy, but with a shared mission: to demand transparency, uphold democratic values, and hold the powerful accountable when official institutions fail to do so. Their voice resonates as one unafraid to challenge authority and reveal uncomfortable truths. Today, Anonymous has issued a powerful statement that reverberates through the corridors of Washington, delivering news that former President Donald Trump would find deeply unsettling. Fresh developments from the House of Representatives have brought forth new articles of impeachment against Trump, a move that strikes at the heart of ongoing political turmoil and raises critical questions about the state of American democracy. These articles are no mere symbolic gesture or theatrical political stunt. Presented as privileged resolutions by Representative Shri Thanadar, they require Congress to take swift action within 2 days, forcing Republican members to either vote on the impeachment or publicly oppose it. This procedural urgency ensures that this challenge to Trump's conduct is not ignored or delayed indefinitely. The charges included are severe and far-reaching: obstruction of justice, bribery, corruption, and blatant authoritarian overreach. They outline a disturbing pattern of behavior where Trump allegedly abused his power in ways that threaten the foundational principles of democratic governance. To understand the gravity of this moment, it's essential to look at the context. In just the first 10 days following his return to the political arena, Trump was already linked to 3 distinct impeachable offenses. Now, nearly 4 months later, the scope of alleged misconduct has only expanded. Among the allegations are the acceptance of a $400 million luxury plane from Qatar, raising ethical and legal concerns about foreign influence and conflicts of interest. Additionally, he is accused of attempting to suspend habeas corpus, the fundamental legal right protecting citizens from unlawful detention, effectively undermining due process and judicial authority. Further claims include ignoring court orders and threatening mass arrests of political opponents still under investigation. Behaviors characteristic of authoritarian regimes rather than democratic leaders, these actions underscore a troubling shift from norms and respect for institutions toward an alarming authoritarian drift that imperils civil liberties and democratic checks and balances. Such conduct demands accountability, but responses have been mixed and often politically charged. Critics argue that impeachment efforts are distractions from substantive policy debates, urging Democrats to focus on pressing issues like affordable housing, AI regulation, or national budget reform. This viewpoint raises a crucial debate: can the appeal of a disruptive populist leader like Trump truly be countered by serious policy proposals alone? History and political analysis suggest that many who voted for Trump were not primarily motivated by policy platforms, but rather by a desire for upheaval, a leader who punches back at elites, breaks established systems, and challenges the status quo on their behalf. This phenomenon has created a polarized political landscape where traditional policymaking struggles to compete with the spectacle of confrontation and defiance. It begs the question: how can opposition forces effectively engage with a base that seeks disruption over detailed policy? At the same time, some Democratic voices have suggested developing their own vision akin to Project 2025, a controversial plan linked to conservative Christian nationalism, aiming to reshape America's political and cultural identity under oligarchic control by tech billionaires. Attempting to mirror such a project risks adopting dangerous authoritarian tendencies. The better course is clear: resist and oppose such extremist plans, while reinforcing democratic values through transparent governance, inclusive policy, and respect for the rule of law. The impeachment process, even if unlikely to lead to Senate conviction and removal from office, remains a critical constitutional mechanism. It embodies the principle that no individual, including the president, is above the law. The House of Representatives has a solemn duty to evaluate whether the president's actions warrant impeachment as a safeguard against abuses of power. Failing to act would signal tacit acceptance of authoritarian behavior and erode public trust in democratic institutions. It would embolden those who undermine democracy and weaken the legal and ethical frameworks designed to protect citizens' rights. While impeachment articles serve as a necessary form of congressional oversight and public accountability, they cannot be the sole response. If Democrats merely file articles and stop, the process risks being seen as performative, a symbolic act without real effect. The challenge is to integrate impeachment efforts into a broader, multifaceted resistance involving legislative initiatives, public engagement, grassroots mobilization, and strategic communication. Democratic leaders must craft compelling narratives that connect the dots between authoritarian threats and policy solutions, demonstrating a commitment to both justice and practical governance. This dual approach can help bridge divides, counter misinformation, and build coalitions capable of defending democracy. Anonymous calls on citizens to pay close attention, to educate themselves beyond partisan headlines, and to participate actively in the democratic process. Democracy is not a spectator sport. It requires vigilance, courage, and engagement from all sectors of society. This is not a moment for complacency, but for action. It's also important to consider the international implications. America's political health resonates globally. The rise or fall of authoritarian tendencies in the U.S. influences democratic movements and governance worldwide. When a leading democracy struggles with such internal challenges, it sends ripples that can inspire or discourage activists and reformers elsewhere. Anonymous's message implicitly reminds us that the fight for democracy transcends borders. The tactics of authoritarianism curtailing due process, ignoring legal norms, threatening political opponents are seen in various countries and contexts. Standing up to such threats in the U.S. contributes to a global struggle for human rights and accountable governance. This leads to questions for all of us to reflect on. How prepared are we as citizens to confront threats to democracy? What role should activism, both online and offline, play in shaping political outcomes? How do we balance urgent responses like impeachment with the long-term work of policy reform and societal healing? Moreover, the impeachment articles highlight the fragile nature of democratic institutions when faced with leaders who reject conventional constraints. The norms and unwritten rules that once held power accountable are being tested, and formal mechanisms like impeachment become vital tools to enforce boundaries. But political will is required. Will Congress stand firm, or will partisan divides undermine the process? Will Republicans prioritize loyalty to party over country, or will they fulfill their constitutional duties? The world watches closely. Anonymous's intervention serves as both a spotlight and a rallying cry. By publicly drawing attention to these developments, they amplify pressure on elected officials to act responsibly. They remind us all that silence and inaction carry consequences. As citizens, what steps can we take? Staying informed through credible sources, engaging in local and national elections, supporting independent media, participating in peaceful protests, and holding representatives accountable are all part of sustaining democracy. This moment is a litmus test not only for political leaders but for society at large. Will the democratic experiment endure in the face of growing authoritarian pressures? Or will complacency and division erode the freedoms that many have fought to secure? Anonymous's announcement is a call to wake up, to recognize the stakes, and to participate actively in shaping the future. Democracy depends on the collective will of the people, not just on institutions alone. So where do you stand? Are you ready to engage beyond passive consumption of news? How will you ensure your voice contributes to the defense of democratic values? The choice is yours. Remember, democracy thrives on participation, debate, and accountability. Let this be the moment we choose action over apathy, truth over misinformation, and courage over fear. What will you do today to support democracy? Anonymous challenges you to consider this seriously, because democracy's survival depends on all of us together.